pull an amazing group of women and organizations that feel passionately about the fair treatment, fair respect, and fair competition for women and its availability for the next generations.
To be here with past female athletes, future female athletes, people who have felt the personal experience of competing against transgender athletes, it's just really incredible to be here, unite with them and use our voices together, which is a lot more powerful than just on our own.
With this administration now under Title IX regulations, sending out a policy to equate biological sex with gender identity under all federal laws, there'll be no barrier to entry for a young person, a young male, to say, I identify as female without any policy and compete head-to-head against women.
I think that women who have gone through this, and even people who just recognize that it's unfair and haven't said anything about it, should know that if they speak up, they will receive more support than they could ever imagine.
For something like Icons to pop up that's providing a voice for female athletes and scientists to actually talk about the data that's out there that people need to know, it's just so important to do.
We need athletes to stand up and tell their stories if they have competed against a biological male. Telling their story is going to be imperative in, changing these laws and making lawmakers protect the female categories.
I knew that I needed to stand up and defend the actions that those women took now 50 years ago and ensure that every little girl out there has the fair opportunity to compete in her sport and is not only able to participate, but to succeed in her own events.
The scientists like myself are empowering those people with tools. We're giving them reasons to, and almost confidence to take forward their message, because we want them to know that they have the scientific truth on their side.
Last December, I traveled to Lincoln, Nebraska to compete in the finals of a Red Bull event. The day of the finals, I was pretty surprised when I saw who I'd be competing against, a male competitor. And the male competitor, unsurprisingly, took first place, receiving $5,000 of the prize money that was meant for the female athletes.
I was ranked 4th in the nation in the 200 freestyle behind some amazing names that I obviously was familiar with and one that I wasn't. And so this was the first time that I became aware of Leah Thomas. But it wasn't until an article came out on SwimSwam that clarified that Leah was formerly Will Thomas, which was a male who swam for 3 years on the men's side at UPenn.
Competing against boys when I was 8, 9 years old, I was as good as most of them, but I wasn't better than all of them. And I was by far the best female athlete in our school. It was always understood that it would be divided by sex.
If you respect biology, then you understand why we have women's sports in the first place. The category of women's sport is the only thing that allows us to elevate 50% of humans, to give them the opportunity to be Katie Ledecky or Serena Williams or Naomi Osaka.
Everybody should have the ability to compete and participate in sports. I'm all about inclusion, but fair sport, fair play, safe sport, and inclusion do not all have to be lumped together.
We women have fought so hard to get this equal opportunity to even have the right to play sports, equal funding, etc. And now we're supposed to make room for men who not now ID as women, great for everyday life, absolutely supported in society at large, but we have categories in sports for a reason.
When it comes to sports, it has to be based on fairness. It has to be based on what the science says. And in order to give women equal opportunities, they have to have their own team.
There's not so much this attempt to, I guess, blur the lines between performance between males and females or sex differences, but there's actually like a more fundamental attempt to just blur the lines between what males and female are completely.
A journalist at the National Review asked the question, if the left can't solve this, can the right solve this? And there were a series of answers to that question, but one of my absolute favorite answers to the question came from the current Wolf Board Chair, Lierre Keith, who said, it won't be the left, it won't be the right, it will be women working together.
My concern is wanting to ensure that girls continue to have not only the opportunity to participate, but the opportunity to win. The opportunity to get college scholarships, the opportunity to be NCAA All-American. And if they're unable to do so because of unfair competition, that's going to have not only an adverse effect on their abilities as an athlete, but also an adverse effect on their career long after.
The Biden regulations are so radical and revolutionary because what they say is that sex and gender identity all mean the same thing.
The notion of what a female is being erased. And this doesn't just have repercussions in the sport marketplace. Of course, it has repercussions in every arena.
Current athletes are fearing backlash in speaking out publicly, and so they don't. We want to create a team where they feel comfortable to do so and also connect people, even if it's behind the scenes, to give information to parents and athletes who have felt wronged in a similar circumstance to link arms with each other, link arms with us. We will connect you to resources that can help you, to educate you, and to connect you to organizations that are working in all different ways.